This is the AMD Radeon 7900 GRE or Golden Rabbit Edition. After being exclusive to China for several months, it finally made its worldwide debut on February the 27th, 2024 for a US MSRP of $550. Hi, this is Z-Rock on Tech, and today we're taking a look at the 7900 GRE. And thanks to a subscriber and Patreon member, ShadowFox, I'm able to bring you this video. Without him, this video would not be possible because he sent me this card. PowerColor AMD did not send me this card. ShadowFox did. So drop a comment down below letting him know that you appreciate him, because without him, this content would not be possible. Now, let's talk about the 7900 GRE. Now, what you have to keep in mind is that the 7900 GRE is a GPU that most of us should not have access to. This is an unexpected bonus GPU for the majority of us. It launched in 2023 exclusive to China. However, for some reason, AMD changed their mind and decided to release it worldwide here in 2024. Some people speculate it was simply a response to NVIDIA's 40 Super Series GPUs. Either way, I'm happy it's here. I'm happy we can test it, play with it, use it, buy it, and have it as a viable option for our GPU needs. Now let's talk more about the card from a technical level. As you can see, the 7900 GRE is a triple fan model from PowerColor. It is the Hellhound model. This is an AIB partner of AMD. And honestly, I've always wanted to try a Hellhound card, so this was an excellent opportunity for me to do that. Now this 7900 GRE from Hellhound has a dual BIOS switch on the card. One side of the switch is for overclocking. The other side of the switch is a silent mode operation. By default, out of the box, this card comes to you in the OC mode, and all the benchmarks you will see today will be with the OC mode. And also, in my opinion, I didn't find the card loud at all in the OC mode. So personally, I would say keep it in the OC mode, take the extra performance, and don't worry about the silent operation because it's honestly not that loud, but to each his own. Additionally, in terms of RGB lighting, this card has a switch on the card itself for 3 different operations. By default, the lighting is set to blue out of the box, and then if you switch it once to the right in the middle, the lighting will completely go away, and if you switch it all the way over to the right, you can change it to purple. So you have 2 lighting options for this card. There is no way to control the RGB via software, to the best of my knowledge. And now on the screen are the specifications for the PowerColor Hellhound 7900 GRE. I will leave them up here for a moment in case you want to pause the video and take a look at them. But here are a couple of specs I want to point out. The OC clock can boost up to 2366 megahertz. However, if you do utilize the standard / silent profile, then you will only boost up to 2293 megahertz. The card does have 16 gigabytes of GDDR6 VRAM. This card specifically supports 1 HDMI 2.1 port and 3 DisplayPort 2.1 ports. And the last spec I'll point out is on AMD's website for the GRE, and that is the fact that it has 80 compute units. Now, it's important to note that the MSRP of the 7900 GRE is $550. However, this specific model, the Hellhound from PowerColor, is currently selling for about $579 on Amazon, but over time that price may come down, and of course there are other models available for $550. I just wanted to make sure I made that distinction. And now, very often on my channel, I do get the following question. Hey, is this card good for 1440p, or is it good for 4K, or where would you classify this card? And in terms of the 7900 GRE, what I would say is this is definitely a 1440p GPU. Your mileage is going to vary depending on the game you're playing, the settings you're using, etc. But when you're talking about the latest titles that have come out over the last couple of years, and when you're talking about using high settings or even maximum settings, this card really shines at 1440p. And right now on the screen, you can see all the hardware I used in the testing for this video. The GPU is a 7900 GRE, the CPU is a 14900K, the motherboard is the Asus TUF Gaming Z790 Pro Wi-Fi, the CPU cooler is the Asus TUF Gaming LC2 368 RGB all-in-one liquid cooler. For the RAM, I used 32 gigabytes of DDR5 running at 7200 megahertz. The AMD driver is 24.2.1, and the operating system is Windows 11 Pro. And for those who may be curious, the BIOS settings with the Asus motherboard is auto, let BIOS optimized. This is Asus's default settings. All the games are ran at their maximum quality settings at 1440p and 4K. For the GPU settings, I am only using the overclock switch on the GPU itself. I did not do any additional undervolting or overclocking with the card itself. Currently, we are waiting for AMD to release a driver update to fix a bug in the overclocking profile for the GRE. I didn't use any form of ray tracing, FSR, frame generation, or anything like that. This is all native raw rasterization, and resizable bar is enabled. During the benchmark session, you will see on the left 1440p, and on the right will always be 4K. For games that have a built-in benchmark, I will tell you what the final average FPS is according to the in-game benchmark, and for games that do not have an in-game benchmark, you can just see the MSI Afterburner stats on the screen. And now, without any further ado, let's talk about the benchmarks. First up is Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. I ran the in-game benchmark on the Extreme preset. At 1440p, the final average is 158 FPS. At 4K, the final average is 94 FPS. At 1440p, the 1% lows are around 135 FPS, and at 4K, the 1% lows are around 75 FPS. At both resolutions, we are seeing 100% GPU utilization, and the main thing I want to point out here is the GPU temperature. I've been incredibly impressed with the Hellhound and the GPU temperature. We're looking at 49 to 50 C. That is incredibly impressive here. Next up is Assassin's Creed Valhalla. I ran the in-game benchmark on the Ultra preset. At 1440p, the final average is 126 FPS. At 4K, the final average is 78 FPS. And at 1440p, the 1% low is 78 FPS. And at 4K, the 1% low is 58 FPS. The GPU temperature at 1440p is sitting strong at 49 to 50 C, which is incredibly impressive. And at 4K, it only increases by about 2 to 3 C. The GPU utilization could be a little bit better, but for the most part, it's still pretty good, hovering around 97 to 99%. Next up is Cyberpunk 2077. I ran the in-game benchmark on the Ultra preset, so no upscaling and no ray tracing used. The final average at 1440p is 105 FPS. The final average at 4K is 44 FPS. The 1% low at 1440p is between 84 to 85 FPS, and the 1% low at 4K is about 35 FPS. The GPU temperature at 1440p is at 49 C. Again, just incredibly impressive here. And at 4K, it's at 48 to 49 C at times. Again, also incredibly impressive. And on average, we are getting about 100% GPU utilization. Next up is God of War 2018. And I ran the game with the Ultra preset. At 1440p, we're averaging about 130 FPS. And at 4K, we're averaging about 78 to 79 FPS. At 1440p, the 1% low is 124 FPS. And at 4K, the 1% low is 74 FPS. Quite a substantial difference there. And our GPU temperature at 1440p is sitting around 52 to 53 C. And at 4K, it's a little bit higher at 56 C. And we are getting a solid 100% GPU utilization here, which is something you always like to see. And even at 4K on the Ultra preset, we're only pulling in about 8 gigabytes on the VRAM, so we still have plenty of room to spare here. Next up is Hogwarts Legacy, and I'm using the Ultra preset running around Hogsmeade. At 1440p, our average frame rate is about 113 FPS, and at 4K, the average frame rate is only 58 FPS. At 1440p, the 1% low is 85 FPS, and at 4K, the 1% low is 41 FPS. The GPU temperature is about 49 C on 4K, while it's 52 C at 1440p. GPU utilization is sitting strong at 100%, and at 4K Ultra, we're pulling in just a little bit above 12 gigabytes of VRAM, so we're still under that 16 gigabyte limit on the GRE. Next up is Starfield. I ran the Ultra preset, and I'm currently walking around New Atlantis. At 1440p, the final average will be 86 FPS, and at 4K, the final average will be 55 FPS. The 1% lows at 1440p is 71 FPS, and the 1% low at 4K is 45 FPS. The GPU temperature is 49 C at 1440p, and it is 51 C at 4K. The GPU utilization is hovering between 99 to 100%, but mostly sticking at 99%. And in terms of VRAM utilization, even at 4K Ultra, we're only pulling in 8.7 gigabytes of VRAM usage. Therefore, we are far below the 16 gigabyte limit of the GRE. Next up is Helldivers 2, and I ran the Ultra preset. At 1440p, the average frame rate is about 78 FPS, and and at 4K, the average frame rate is around 43 FPS. The 1% low at 1440p is 74 FPS, and the 1% low at 4K is 40 FPS. The GPU temperature at 1440p is about 55°C, which is the highest we've seen so far at 1440p, and at 4K, it's sitting at 54 to 55°C, so it's about the same. GPU utilization is sitting strong at 99%, and even at 4K Ultra, VRAM utilization is only around 8 gigabytes in total, so we still have plenty of room to spare with a 16 gigabyte limit on the GRE. Okay, so the 7900 GRE, what are my final thoughts? Well, overall, I think the card is an exciting card simply because it is a bonus. We were not supposed to have it. It was a card that was locked down to China and the rest of the world was never supposed to have it. Yet AMD changed their mind and now here we are. And so from that standpoint, it makes the card very exciting and appealing. It's kind of like a mystery item, a bonus item, the forbidden fruit, if you will. And so all of that makes the card incredibly fun. And it also makes it one of those things where it's hard to complain about it because really, it wasn't something we were expecting to happen. If you start comparing the GRE to the 7800 XT, there's a $50 price difference in the US MSRP, and the 7900 GRE is faster than the 7800 XT, but not by a lot. And so you now have to ask that question, hey, is that worth another $50? And really, that's gonna come down to you, the consumer, and how you're viewing the whole situation. You can look at cost per frame data, Hardware Unboxed provided some of that, and based on that data, the better value proposition is the 7800 XT. But for some people, they're going to look at it differently and say, no, I want those extra frames. It's worth another $50 for me. And so again, it really just comes down to how you view it. And so the way I look at it is if you're a 1440p gamer and you're trying to maximize the amount of performance you can get at 1440p without going too far above the $500 range, the 7900 GRE is probably the card for you. Now, in addition to that, let's talk about the PowerColor Hellhound specifically. I love this card. I love the way it looks. Looks are subjective, but I do love the way it looks. I also like the fact that it has physical switches on it, so you don't have to install another piece of RGB bloatware, if you will. I also like the idea that it has a dual BIOS, but the thing that I like the most is the thermal performance on this card. You might have noticed I kept talking about the temperature during the benchmarks because honestly, an average of about 50°C in all of these benchmarks, in my opinion, is very impressive. We were talking about 1440p and 4K on the ultra maxed out presets here. That is nothing to scoff at. That is very impressive performance from a thermal standpoint. I like the way the card performs at 1440p. I love the thermal performance on the card. I like the idea of physical switches on the card, and overall I think the card looks pretty good and the sound was totally fine for me personally, and so I do give the card a good recommendation. I just think the challenge with this card is very similar to what I said in my recent video on the 7900 XT. AMD has so many options now. AMD is competing with AMD because now AMD has you covered at almost every single price point. You have the Radeon 7600 at $269. You have the 7600 XT at $329. You have the 7700 XT, which can now be bought quite often at $409. You have the 7800 XT at $500. The 7900 GRE at $550. The 7900 XT at $750, which can often be found for around $700. And finally, you have the 7900 XTX at $1,000, which can also be found normally around $900 to $950. And so when you look at it from that standpoint, AMD basically has you covered at almost every major price point. And so depending on what your budget is and the type of performance you're going for, they have you covered. And so that's a lot of competition within their own company. And so from that standpoint, it's one of those things where it's like, well, if the 7800 XT wasn't powerful enough to get you to buy it, and if the 7900 XT is too expensive, then the 7900 GRE is a card that kind of attempts to bridge that gap, but it's not substantially faster than the 7800 XT. And so if the 7800 XT wasn't enough for you to, jump on board with this generation of GPUs, then I don't think the GRE is going to do it for you either. But if you're in the market and you're saying, hey, you know what, I'm actually just entering the market and I'm looking to buy a rock solid 1440p GPU for around $500, the 7800 XT and the 7900 GRE, They have you covered, and honestly, the GRE, even though it's only marginally faster, it is still faster, and so that is probably the card for you. Now, hey, that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please do me a favor, hit that like button because it goes a long way in helping me out. And if you're new, get subscribed. And until next time, E-Rock out.